From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital. This is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Waodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, President Bola Tinubu meets newly appointed service chiefs at the presidential Villa Abuja as the government moves to strengthen professionalism and morale in the military. Former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido threatens legal action against the People's Democratic Party if denied the right to buy the chairmanship form. One body recovered, 21 people rescued from a two-story building that collapsed in the Onyimbo area of Lagos. And slow, deadly hurricane inches towards Jamaica, threatens torrential rains and destructive winds across the Caribbean islands. And on business, FIRS reports record revenue collection raising 22.6 trillion naira in 9 months.
On sports news tonight, coach Justin Madugu says Super Falcons will take nothing for granted against the Amazons of Benin in the 2026 WAFCON qualifier return leg clash on Tuesday.
And from the nation's capital, Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors announces plans to begin an indefinite nationwide strike effective 1st of November over unmet demands.
We begin tonight with President Bola Tinubu's closed-door meeting with the recently appointed service chiefs at the presidential villa in Abuja. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, Chief of Air Staff Major General Waidi Shuaibu, the Chief of Air Staff Air Vice Marshal Kennedy Aneke, and the Chief of Naval Staff Rear Admiral Idi Abbas all arrived at the villa together for the meeting with the President. News of the appointment had broken on Friday, October the 24th this year as part of a shake-up in the military hierarchy. Well, according to the Presidency, their appointments is a strategic move to enhance professionalism, efficiency, and renewed morale within the armed forces. We turn our attention to politics now. The former governor of Jigawa State, Mr. Sule Lamido, is threatening to drag the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, to court should the party deny him his right to purchase the form for the position of the national chairman in a forthcoming convention. Mr. Lamido made this declaration at the headquarters of the PDP in Abuja after his effort to obtain the PDP expression of interest form for the chairman position failed. The former governor had approached the National Organizing Secretary of the party for the form, but was told that the forms for the various vacant positions to be filled at the November 15 and 16, 2025 National Elective Convention of the party were sold by the chairman of the convention committee, Governor Omar Fintiri of Adamawa State.
Former governor of Jigawa State, Mr. Sule Lamido, arrives at the headquarters of the People's Democratic Party in Abuja to obtain the party's expression of interest form for the chairmanship position in the November 15 and 16 National Convention. He was accompanied by his supporters to the office of the National Secretary, where the National Organizing Secretary of the party was also seated. The former governor declared his mission to the PDP headquarters.
Yeah, to buy a form to run for the chairmanship. Those powers have been taken over by the convention committee. So how do I get the form? How do I get the form? You have no idea.
However, Mr. Lamido is unable to obtain the form as both the organizing secretary of the party and the national secretary of the party say they have no information about nomination forms.
I'm not aware of any form that has been printed or sold. I'm not aware. And nobody has told me how many forms have been printed or how many forms have been sold. So I am not aware of anything, to be honest with you.
I also want to run, but I'm entitled to run for a second time. Yeah. So, but unfortunately, I've not seen form, not for the civil of the form. I'm not even seen any aspirant. I don't know if it's any aspirant.
Outside the hall, the former Jigawa State Governor threatens to take the PDP to court if the party turns down his request to purchase the form.
I went to the office of the Nation of the NSO, which is normally the office where the forms are normally sold. And the office was locked by, I don't know, it was officially locked, because of his own position. So I met him with the secretary of the party, Atiwanyawu. I said, look, I'm here to buy the form. All of them said, they have no idea where the forms are.
You are unable to get the form. What is your next line of action?
If I don't get the form, I'll go to court. Simple.
According to the PDP timetable for the 2025 elective convention, the purchase of nomination forms ended since last month. At this news conference at the PDP Convention Committee Media Center, spokesperson of the party's consensus chairmanship candidate, Mr. Umar Sani, reacts to Sule Lamido's remarks.
Today is not a day for selling of forms. Today is the day for submission of forms. So if Sule Lamido went to the Wadata looking for forms, he went on the wrong date.
We have adopted a consensus candidate.
The emergence of Tani Muturaki on Wednesday as the chairmanship consensus candidate for the PDP convention has been generating reactions from within the party. Some party members have also dissociated themselves from the consensus candidate, insisting that they were never consulted despite being critical members of the party.
You're watching the deputy governorship candidate of the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, Mr. Jeffrey Nwobo, and other members of the ADC arriving into the warm welcome of a meeting with the people of Onitsha South and Onitsha North local government areas of Anambra State. The meeting is a continuation of the ADC's campaign tour of the state ahead of the November 8th governorship election. The deputy governorship candidate emphasizes the importance of security to the commercial city, assuring the people that if voted into power, the John Chuma Nwosu ADC-led government will deploy technology to solve the challenges of insecurity in all parts of Anambra State.
Security in Anambra State is being fought the old-fashioned way in a modern age. Is that going to make war? No. Will it work? No. Fighting security in the olden way, in a modern time, will it work? No. Well, we're fighting insecurity with modern technology, with ICT, with AI-powered cameras. If anything happens anywhere around the Guru here, we deploy a drone. The control will deploy a drone that will track where the criminals are, and they will be caught. Tell those who want to get the support of APC and under the watch of APC that the government will give incentives to those who are the underdog. Those who are less privileged will be supported by government. They will not be handled by government, but supported by government. No more accord.
And there he made the promise that the welfare of persons living with disabilities will be top priority if voted into office. And staying with the Anambra State governorship election, as the clock ticks and the day nears, the re-election campaign rally for the Professor Chukwuma Soludo-led government and his running mate, Dr. Onyeka Chukwu Ibeze, moved to Onitsha North local government area, where supporters praised the giant strides of the governor in road construction, security, youth entrepreneurship, economic growth, and upgrades of schools and hospitals. They say the goal is to sweep all 313 polling units across the 15 electoral wards for the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APCA.
A mammoth crowd fills the Chima Primary School field, Onitsha, as supporters of Governor Chukwuma Soludo rally behind his re-election bid. From security and road infrastructure to economic growth, free education, maternal care, and youth empowerment, residents of Onitsha North commend Mr. Soludo's achievements and pledge to deliver all 313 polling units across the 15 wards for APGA on November the 8th.
Mr. Governor, if I was Sutu, I would say Kailiboha. Mr. Governor, if I was Yoruba, I would say Eshekbupo. If I was Hausa, Mr. Governor, I would say Nagode. Thank you for all you have done for the Onitsha.
They give me attention. If I don't begin move, wow. Hey, everything free, everything, and not pay shishi. I want to use this opportunity to thank our amiable governor. Daddy, you have done well to the youth of Anambra State. You have done well to the non-indigenous, youth of non-indigenous Onitsha North local government. With the little token you've given to us as a grant, I have established my own company now, sir.
Moved by the massive turnout, Governor Soludo thanks the people for their overwhelming support, highlighting the miracle of Monday, a return to normal business life in Anambra State. He promises even greater strides after his re-election.
So thank you, because 4 years ago, Onitsha North, even Onitsha South, you voted for us resoundingly 4 years ago. And now, Nkekitaze, I understand is going to be a tsunami. It's going to be what? What tsunami? We are not taking your votes for granted. I just listened to this woman from Delta State, who has just been, one of the over 180,000 women who benefited from our free antenatal, free delivery, including over 500 free cesarean operations with zero mortality in all our public hospitals.
In a show of solidarity, the people of Onitsha North donate 30 million naira to support Governor Soludo's campaign. The governor urges voters to turn out in large numbers and vote APGA, a party he says is committed to credible, transparent, and peaceful elections.
Oh my God. Are you
From the southeastern part of Nigeria, we come down to the political space in the southwest. And ahead of the Ekiti state governorship election, delegates of the All Progressives Congress in the state have elected Governor Abiodun Oyebanji as the party's consensus governorship candidate for the 2026 elections. Governor Oyebanji, who was unanimously picked during the special primary election held in Ado Ekiti, is currently serving his first 4-year term as governor.
Your endorsement today is an affirmation of the wishes of thousands of our members who made similar decisions in the wards and local government congresses that held 2 days ago. I deeply appreciate your decision and hereby accept this honor to fly the flag of our great party in the governorship election that comes next year. Be assured, however, that I am eternally indebted to you all, and I will never take this honor for granted. Thank you so very much. I can say without any fear of contradiction that this is the first time in our history that a ruling party will be presenting a candidate by consensus. This is a historic moment in our political development, and it signals a major metrics of political maturity and a trend towards stability that our state began in year 2022.
In part 2, after the break, 1 body recovered, 21 people rescued from a 2-story building that collapsed in the Onyigbo area of Lagos State. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. President Tinubu meets newly appointed service chiefs at the presidential villa as the government moves to strengthening professionalism and morale in the military. Former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido threatens legal action against the PDP if denied the right to buy the chairmanship form. One body recovered, 21 others rescued from two-story building collapse in Oyinbo area of Lagos State. And slow, deadly hurricane inches towards Jamaica, threatening torrential rains and destructive winds across the Caribbean island. Away from the political scene, the number of persons rescued from the site of the two-story building that collapsed in the early hours of today on Carter Street in the Oyinbo area of Lagos mainland still stands at 21. Sadly, one body was recovered from the rubble. Emergency responders, including officials from NEMA, LASEMA, the police, and the Lagos State Fire Service remain at the scene continuing the rescue operations.
An excavator claw tears into the wreckage, slicing through what remains of the collapsed structure. Heavy equipment has been deployed in a desperate race against time, working to clear the debris and reach anyone still trapped deep. But amidst the destruction, there were moments of heroism. Earlier, several residents were pulled out alive thanks to the selfless, swift intervention of local volunteers who rushed in just moments after the building gave way.
I was here promptly when the thing happened. The noise of the building after collapsing was what aroused attention of everybody. Let me tell you, the lives that have been saved here today was as a result of the effort of the DPO, the area commander, his men, and everybody. And we are able to evacuate 21 people to our various general hospital acquitted by the director, and they are receiving adequate treatment. We cover one body, and the body has been deposited at the mortuary.
The building that served both residents and businesses was ill-fated. Eyewitnesses confirmed the structure had previously been marked as distressed and unsafe, a tragic, familiar scenario in this area.
So I was surprised. The government has marked this building as a distressed building. There has been an inscription on this building as a distressed one. The present chairman of the local government said he's aware and he has made efforts. But so I was surprised. Some callous, wicked people covered the government inscription, and with the cooperation of all popular agents, they rented this building to unwary tenants. Action now is to ensure that we rescue people and to ensure that this area is well secure, and we are going technically to ground zero. NEMA is very responsible organization. We will try as much as possible to give relief and support to those who are affected. You can be sure of that.
As the demolition continues, fear is spreading to neighboring properties. Residents in adjacent buildings are seen hurriedly moving out their belongings, taking no chances and hoping to preempt a similar tragedy or a possible forced government evacuation. At the time of this report, an unknown number of residents remain unaccounted for, fueling grave fears that they may still be entombed beneath the rubble. Despite the odds, the unified rescue teams are emphatic. Operations will continue around the clock until the entire site is cleared and every life is accounted for.
After 18 months of constant persecution and defense, the Port Harcourt Division of the Rivers State High Court has discharged and acquitted 12 individuals suspected to be involved in the alleged killing of a policewoman, Inspector Justina Erekere, in Rivers State. Delivering judgment earlier today, presiding judge Justice Augusta Chukwu said that the prosecution failed to prove their case of murder and conspiracy beyond reasonable doubt. Our correspondent Charles Operum reports.
When Efeogene Uwiraka and 11 of his friends set out to Akwa Ibom on the 25th of April 2024, his intention was to go get married to his new bride and bring her home. Sadly, fate had another plan in store for them as their encounter with officers of the Taba police station in Kana local government area of Rivers State led to the death of Inspector Christiana Irekere. The 12 of them have been incarcerated while their trial has been ongoing at the Rivers State High Court. After 18 months, the trial judge, Honorable Justice Augusta Chukwu, in her judgment, discharged and acquitted all 12 suspects, saying the police failed to prove beyond reasonable doubt their murder charge. A decision that was met with jubilation from relatives of the defendants and tears from those of the deceased.
And while en route to Akwa Ibom, they were stopped at the Taba Divisional Police, where a police officer by name Harrison demanded for bribe to give them money before they can proceed their journey. And eventually, the defendant were unable to have given them the money. And then there was a fracas, and incidentally, someone died. And they said the person that died was the defendant caused the death of the deceased person. So how it is, we had to come to this court, and eventually they preferred the charge against them. And then the court sumoto went into full-scale trial. It's a trial that we were doing almost every month, so almost in a month, 2-3 times. But my lord was determined that she must finish this case within the shorter period of time. And of course, today, what we are seeing today is a judgment in favor of the defendant, because my lord, the evidence so far canvassed by the prosecution is unreliable.
In his reaction, the prosecuting counsel says he will return to his superiors to decide on their next line of action.
The court has reviewed the facts before it and evidence before it, and come to this conclusion. That is the position of the court. I will contact the authorities that sent me and review the judgments and look at where the courts have done well or have not done well.
The relatives of the deceased police officer are distressed as they reject the judgment which they label unjust, even as they hint they will appeal the case.
Today they free all of them, that they should go. What about us? Who will take care of us? My own siblings and I will be suffering ever since they have not go to school. They don't go and know we are managing and because we just people free, they will go just like that. How about us? How about the person that died?
Though judgment has been given, the saga appears to be far from over as both parties await the appeal process. Charles Operum, Channels Television News.
We go to the nation's capital now, Abuja, where Terry Ikume is standing by to bring us more stories on the news at 10. Over to you, Terry.
Well, thank you very much, Anne. Now, the Nigerian Association of Residents Doctors has announced plans to commence an indefinite nationwide strike starting on the 1st of November this year, following the expiration of a 30-day ultimatum earlier issued to the Nigerian government. The president of the association, Dr. Mohammed Suleiman, made the announcement during a press briefing in Abuja. According to him, the decision was reached after the association's National Executive Council reviewed the government's response to their demands during an emergency virtual meeting on Saturday. Among the grievances listed by the association are excessive and unregulated work hours, non-payment of outstanding arrears from the 25 and 35% upward review of the consolidated medical salary structure, and the unjust dismissal of 5 resident doctors from the Federal Teaching Hospital in Lokoja.
The NEC demands the immediate implementation of the special pension benefits as previously agreed upon between the federal government and the Nigerian Medical Association. Number 19. After exhaustive deliberations and in light of the federal government's persistent failure to address the legitimate demands of Nigerian resident doctors, the NEC has resolved as follows. That the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors hereby declares a total, comprehensive, and indefinite strike commencing at 12 a.m. midnight on Saturday, 1st November 2025. All resident doctors in federal and state tertiary health institutions nationwide are directed to withdraw their services completely and indefinitely until the federal government and affected state governments demonstrate genuine commitment to addressing our demands. This is the first time NAD is declaring a total action after 3 years. The last time we had a strike that lasted more than 48 hours was 3 years ago. So we were ready for that. We've been dialoguing for 3 years. But we have arrived here, looking for too much, to just collect the basic minimum salaries, our allowances, our due. We're not asking for new things. These are things we have agreed. Pay it. You have refused. No one will come and tell you that what they are asking for is illegitimate. They will show you papers. We have agreed. They will now tell you federal government does not have money. Mr. President, they have been paying themselves their own salaries and allowances. It is us that are in the field working that they are not paying. I hope you will listen to this passionate appeal and plea from Nigerian doctors, and I hope you will use your goodwill. You are the father of the nation, to come into this matter, weigh in it, and solve it for us.
Still ahead on the news at 10, FIRS reports record revenue collection rakes in 22.6 trillion naira in 9 months. That's on Business News. We'll stay with us. Welcome back to the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. Now, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has appealed to health workers in the FCT to be patient with the present administration, as all is being done to meet their demands. Speaking during an immunization enforcement exercise in Abuja, the FCTA Mandate Secretary, Health Services and Environment Secretariat, Mrs. Dolakbo Fashewe, explains that no health worker in the world can be fully remunerated for the services they render. On the measles and rubella immunization exercise, Mrs. Fashewe says the current enforcement exercise is targeted towards worship centers, as religious leaders can positively impact their congregation.
I only need one leader to tell a congregation of 1,000. And a congregation of 1,000 will tell another congregation of 1,000. That is on the religious side. We have also been to chiefdoms, almost 17 chiefdoms in FCT, with this message, both in English language and happily so for the first time in Hausa language. We have even put numbers for you to call in case you do not understand. So what we are saying today is this is a new way of doing things. This is the renewed Hope administration. That is that administration that goes all the way to the grassroots. We want social impact projects. You all see the beautiful roads. Now, those people that will walk those roads have to be healthy, because health is the true wealth. I want to use this opportunity to appeal to the doctors in FCT. The frank truth is that no doctor anywhere in the world can be adequately enumerated for the kind of work we do. We are here on a Sunday. Bankers don't go to work on Sunday. The hospital is one place that the lights do not go off, and there's a doctor every time. So we cannot remunerate you adequately enough. All I am pleading is.
To the court now, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has shelved his earlier plan to call witnesses in his defense in his ongoing trial for alleged terrorism offenses. The court had on October 24 adjourned till October 27 for Kanu to open his defense. The IPOB leader had written the court, indicating his intention to call witnesses and applied for witness summons. He also begged the court for time to study his case file. At the resumed hearing, however, Kanu said he has gone through the case file and has realized that there is no valid charge against him. He argued that since he is convinced that there is no valid charge against him and that he was subjected to unlawful trial, there would be no need for him to open any defense. Justice James Omotosho asked him to file a written address to that effect and serve the prosecution. The judge also advised him to consult experts in criminal law on the consequences of the option he has chosen. The judge thereafter adjourned till the 4th of November for the adoption of the final written address or for the defendant to enter his defense. Now, the federal government has signed a £100 million memorandum of understanding with a London-based energy company, Unidaco Limited, to boost international partnerships on the country's energy. The Chief Executive Officer of Energy Commission of Nigeria, Mr. Mustafa Abdullahi, signed the document on behalf of the federal government during an event hosted by Renewed Hope Global in conjunction with Foreign Investment Network at the House of Lords in London, United Kingdom.
It's a gathering of critical stakeholders in the energy sector. From the atmosphere to the engaging discussions, the event showcased Nigeria's commitments to growth, innovation and collaboration as attendees engage in robust conversations that reflect the momentum being undertaken by the administration of President Bola Tinubu. One by one, dignitaries and leaders took turns to applaud President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda of transforming Nigeria into a hub of growth and opportunities.
We now have in Nigeria a unified rate regime. For those of you who may not know, we used to have a situation where investors were finding it difficult to know what the exchange rate was at the time. And we had multiple exchange rates in Nigeria, but when the president came, he said this had to stop. This in addition to a major reform that he took by removing this monster called fuel subsidy in Nigeria. The monster has been there with us for almost 4 decades. Leader after leader lacked this political will to do that. But even at the risk of being judged as someone who is not pro-poor, the president thought he should take that initiative.
Having signed the MOU, the parties emphasized that the partnership will boost renewable energy projects, create job opportunities, and strengthen Nigeria's position on the global energy market.
The federal government has approved 330 billion naira in the 2025 budget alone to solarize tertiary education and health institutions. Yes. Ranging from 1 megawatt to 10 megawatt each for each critical infrastructure in Nigeria. Work has already commenced. We are the implementing agency. At Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital, we have started installing about 7 megawatts of electricity and other tertiary institutions.
And what is this about? It's saying, I'm not telling the world that Nigeria is ready, we're open for business, and Nigeria is also a peaceful country. In regards to what's been said, people like Ted Cruz and so on, Nigeria is not a country of violence. Nigeria is a country of peace. And you can see the international community is lining up to actually commend what's actually going on in Nigeria.
Nigeria currently has the capacity to generate about 14,000 megawatts of electricity. However, only 4,500 megawatts is being supplied. This MOU is expected to contribute to the nation's energy mix to boost socio-economic activities.
Well, that's it from the nation's capital. Over now to Willie Bong in Lagos for business news.
Thank you, Terry. And the Federal Inland Revenue Service says it collected 22.59 trillion naira in tax revenue in the first 9 months of 2025, marking significant growth over the same period last year. Over a 2-year span from October 2023 to September 2025, the FIRS reports a collection of 47.39 trillion naira, hitting 115% of its target for that period. Now, the three-quarter total, 5.29 trillion naira, came from all taxes, about 98% of target, while 17.3 trillion naira was from non-oil taxes, 128% of target, accounting for 76% of all collections. Now, a key player in the export business, Mr. Femi Boyede, has called for stakeholders consultation forum among share nut exporters in Nigeria to create an enabling environment for proper policy formulation in that industry. Speaking on our Business Morning program earlier today, Mr. Boyede explains that the move would be necessary to curb policy inconsistency, which could affect credibility for exporters.
The Nigerian exporters of shea butter obviously had
like 1 year ahead, have entered into international supply contract against the harvest season of 2025, for example. And international export contracts are governed by international arbitration, where default implies very heavy penalties. I am not too sure how many of the exporters who have export supply contracts in their hands were consulted before the policy came. I'm not sure if the federal government has a basket of support for the penalties these guys are going to incur when the people they signed the contracts with begin to invoke the international arbitration clauses that are in the export contracts. So this is the reason why stakeholder consultation is very imperative in the formulation of policies. Otherwise, we are going to continue to have policy somersaults, policy inconsistencies, and that's going to affect the credibility of the Nigerian exporter.
Now to some company news. Transcorp Group has revealed strong third quarter 2025 results, with revenue jumping 39% year-on-year to 413.4 billion naira. And the group attributes the performance to gains in power generation and its hospitality business. Profit before tax rose 18% to 124.5 billion naira, while profit after tax climbed 20.5% to 91.4 billion naira. That's reflecting robust profitability across its business units. Now the group maintains a gross profit margin of 48%, and that's a signal of disciplined cost control and operational strength. With that, we're checking the domestic equities market, which opened the final trading week in October on a negative note as the all-share index dropped 0.1%. John Maka has the details.
Everyone, welcome to the stock market report. Well, the market opens on a negative note at the close of trade. A state is attained at intraday, and so we see today that even though we're still on the 155,000 level, we lost 0.10%. That's for the all-share index, and market cap is still around 98 trillion naira today, 98.698 trillion naira. Now let's look at the drivers of this number. We look at the sectors. Banking continues that downward trend right there. Today, almost 2% cut off that counter. First Holdco, UBA, GTCO, Accessco, as well as Zenith Bank, they experience a lot of profit taking. That's the reason we have this red. Consumer goods has joined that, and now down today, where Nigerian Breeze, PZ, and Cadbury, they lost. Oil and gas is the only one that has retained that very positive sentiment because of Aradel. So Aradel's movement and news around that stock is gaining a lot of investors with confidence, and so we see it's up 4.24%, a major driver of last week's green market also. So gainers today, obviously, predictably, Aradel leads that, and then you have NEM Insurance and ASO Savings again, because they also did this last week. Losers on the other side, those with the red color, we see DCAP, Champion, and Lotus. So we're starting on the red notes, and so it's the bear for today.
Thank you, Ine. Unfortunately, you're not wearing the red color. Let's see the snapshot of closing numbers for other major equities now. And that's business. It's back to Anne for more on the news at 10. Thank you, Will. And outside our shores, let's join Simon Pusey with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. People in Jamaica are bracing for the impact of Hurricane Melissa, which is forecast to unleash destructive winds and bring catastrophic flooding to the Caribbean nation in the coming hours. Melissa was upgraded to a Category 5 hurricane, the maximum strength early on Monday. The authorities fear that Melissa, which has already been blamed for the deaths of 4 people on the island of Hispaniola, could become the strongest hurricane ever to hit Jamaica.
Para volver a ser la Argentina grande nuevamente.
Argentina's President Javier Milei has led his party to a landslide victory in Sunday's midterm elections after defining the first 2 years of his presidency with radical spending cuts and free market reforms. His party, La Libertad Avanza, won nearly 41% of the vote, taking 13 of 24 Senate seats and 64 of the 127 lower house seats that were contested. His gains will make it easier for Milei to push ahead with his program to slash state spending and deregulate the economy. The US and China have agreed the framework of a potential trade deal that will be discussed when their representative leaders meet later this week. That's according to the US Treasury Secretary. Scott Bessent said this included a final deal on TikTok's US operations and a deferral on China's tightened rare earth minerals controls. He also said he did not anticipate the 100% tariff on Chinese goods threatened by Donald Trump coming into force. Both nations are seeking to avoid further escalation in a trade war between the world's 2 largest economies.
We've just finished 2 days of negotiations, and we've created a framework for the 2 leaders to discuss on Thursday in Korea.
Food assistance used by more than 40 million Americans will not be distributed from November due to the ongoing U.S. government shutdown. That's according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program is used by 1 in every 8 Americans and plays a vital role in many grocery budgets. Earlier this month, the Trump administration declined to be drawn on a contingency fund that would have continued benefits, saying the money was needed for potential emergencies such as natural disasters. Teams from Egypt and the International Committee of the Red Cross have been allowed to search for bodies of deceased hostages taken during the 7th of October attacks. The Israeli government said the teams had been permitted to search beyond the so-called Yellow Line in the area controlled by Israeli defense forces in Gaza. Separately on Sunday, Israeli media reported that Hamas members had also been allowed to enter the IDF-controlled area of Gaza to aid in the search. It's believed 13 bodies remain in Gaza, but Hamas has previously said locating them is proving difficult as rubble is covering burial sites. Hundreds of protesters have clashed with security forces in several cities across Cameroon, a day before the results in a highly contested presidential election are due to be announced. Police fired tear gas and water cannon at supporters of the opposition candidate in his stronghold of Garoua, a city in the north of the country. The protesters were denouncing what they said was a plan by the ruling party to steal victory from the opposition leader. The Sudanese paramilitary Rapid Support Forces says it's captured the army headquarters in the besieged city of Al-Fashir in what could be a major turning point in the country's civil war. Al-Fashir is the Sudanese army's last stronghold in the Darfur region in the west of the country. The siege between the 2 sides has seen starvation spread across the city, where 250,000 people remain. And US President Donald Trump has been pictured doing his signature dance while in Malaysia to sign a peace deal between Thailand and Cambodia. However, after the ceremony, Thailand's foreign minister refused to call it a peace agreement, saying he would call it a pathway to peace instead. Trade pressure from Trump led to a ceasefire in late July, ending 5 days of clashes that killed more than 24 people. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Real Madrid welcome reigning champions Barcelona at the Bernabeu in the first El Clasico of the 2025-26 Spanish La Liga season. in a thrilling match day 10 clash on Sunday. Nivea made the match day a memorable one for fans of both Spanish clubs in Lagos. Guests of the Nivea brands at a well-attended El Clasico watch party held at Hard Rock Cafe in Oniru, Lagos.
These supporters of Real Madrid, Barcelona and the La Liga may not be live at the Bernabeu to see their darling teams slug it out. But it is not to worry, as Nivea brings the live game to the excitement of the supporters of all the clubs in Lagos, with music, food and drinks to complement the live match. Madrid fans roar in celebration as they take the lead. And within 16 minutes, Barcelona fans celebrate as they level. Madrid fans had the last dance as the club triumphed 2-1. The brand is proud to host the El Clasico watch party as it celebrates Nivea Men renewed global sponsorship with Real Madrid.
It's a long-term partnership. Coincidentally, we just renewed for another 5 years. And it's basically the coming together, the marriage of two global giants, two brands that personify excellence, commitment, discipline, and precision. And that's why we're working with Real Madrid on this one. We know that our Nivea men love football. They love Real Madrid. So what's not to love about bringing together two brands, two giants that they love, they revere, and they enjoy?
We all know that we miss social connection, especially during COVID. And now just to bring people out to actually enjoy an atmosphere. We know football is the people's game. It's what unites a lot of people, and Nivea just wants to be in the forefront of that, bringing people together to connect, to have a good time, and also, have meaningful conversation and enjoying themselves.
Aside the partnership with Real Madrid, the senior brand manager, Nivea, Mobola Fatudo, explains why the brand stands out.
We have a range of products. We have roll-on, we have spray, we have lotion, and all these products are great for your skin. It has 72 hours sweat and odor protection, which is extremely important. It reduces bacteria by more than 99.9%. I mean, can you even beat that? It also has a really, really amazing sandalwood scent that, the guys are going to love.
Nivea assures its customers and La Liga fans of more exciting moments like this where they get to see their team play.
Meanwhile, head coach Justin Madugu expects tough game against the Amazons of Benin Republic in Abeokuta on Tuesday, despite the Super Falcons enjoying a 2-0 advantage in the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations qualifier. The Super Falcons will most likely parade the same squad as featured in the first leg in the Togolese capital 3 days ago. The encounter at the MKO Abiola Sports Complex Abeokuta will kick off at 4 p.m. with the winner on aggregate earning a ticket to the 14th Women African Cup of Nations to be hosted by Morocco. That Sports is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. President Bola Tinubu today met newly appointed service chiefs at the presidential villa as the government moves to strengthen professionalism and morale in the military in Nigeria. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Good night.